What's up, guys? My name's Jordan McAbee, owner-operator of FantasyRacingOnline.com, and today we're going to build some DFS lineups for the Busch Clash. All right, tonight, Tuesday night, we have the Busch Clash at the Daytona Road course. What's interesting with this race is we've never ran it on the road course. It's always been on the oval. But tonight we're on the road course, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this thing plays out. You know, it's a quick 35-lap event. There's only 21 drivers. You can see here, starting lineup, Ryan Blaney grabbed the pole. This was done via random draw on the Daytona Facebook page on Monday night. Ryan Blaney on the pole. Got Alex Bowman starting second. Denny Hamlin, Keselowski, Byron all starting top five. Chase Elliott, who's absolutely dominated road courses as of late. He starts seventh. Got Logano starting 10th, and you can see the rest of the guys here. Probably the second best road course racer right now, Martin Truex Jr., drew the 18th spot. So that's going to be fun seeing him come up through the field. So let's get right into it. So my site offers a lot of fantasy NASCAR stuff, I guess. I try to, put out not only my opinions, but also I have I built an algorithm that predicts the finishing order of the race. So we can go ahead and take a look at that and what that algorithm is saying is going to happen tonight. This thing takes into account a lot of data. And we'll see here, it should be no surprise. You got Chase Elliott ranked first, Martin Truex Jr. ranked second. Where it gets interesting, you can see here this power index on the right. So basically this thing spits out numbers and ranks them via that. The higher the number, the better they are, and the lower the number, the worse they are. So you come down here to the end, it's got Ty Dillon, predicting he's going to finish dead last in 21st at negative 32.04. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott's up there at a positive 45.63. So I'll link this algorithm post in the description of this video. You can check it out if you want. See what it thinks. This is part of what I use to build my DFS lineups, and it's really helped me. Not helped me, but I found a lot of success with it over the years, not only in DFS but also betting. Getting on into DraftKings, let's pull this up here. So I really don't know what the hell DraftKings was thinking this week with their driver pricing. Chase Elliott, obviously, they're the highest priced driver. Truex, second highest. But this is such soft pricing. It's almost like they didn't realize that this race is on the road course, and the road course is extremely more predictable than the oval. So as far as, getting into these, building a solid lineup for DraftKings, honestly, I think the best strategy is tonight is going to be treating this almost like a super speedway race, like the regular Daytona. It's all going to be about finishing position and place differential, especially with a lot of good road course racers starting in the middle or worse of this 21 car pack. Another reason I think that this could end up being like a super speedway is I think there's opportunity here to leave cap on the table and not use the full 50,000 salary cap when building a lineup. They got some of these guys, Ty Dillon, Newman, they're all priced literally $5,000 less than Chase Elliott. So with this being a 21 car field, we're going to see a lot of duplicate lineups tonight. I mean, you have to have 6 of the 21 drivers. So it's going to be important to nail the guys finishing up front. I think it's going to be possible to have all 6 finish in the top 10. And if you're going to do well in GPPs, I think that's going to be necessary for every single one of your drivers to finish in the top 10. Remember, DraftKings, they switched the scoring around a little bit as far as finishing position. They actually took a point away from first compared to last year. And they also if you see this, it's minor, but it's now 2 points going from 11th to 10th. So I mentioned this in an article that I wrote about the DraftKings scoring and how this will affect everything this upcoming season. I think if you're watching the race live on DraftKings, we're going to see some crazy swings that we maybe didn't see before, or at least not to an extent that we will this year, with drivers finishing 11th to 10th. So if you think about it, if a driver goes from 11th to 10th, that's suddenly a 3-point swing in their direction positive-wise. Same as going 10th to 11th is a negative 3-point swing now, because you have the 2 points for the actual finish differential, as well as the point difference for place differential. So I just think we could see some really big swings like that. Now, getting more down into building lineups for tonight, like I said, I think place differential and finishing position should be at the forefront of your mind, which kind of really lowers the value of these guys starting up near the front. We do have Ryan Blaney on the pole, which, if you remember, I think it was the first Roval race at Charlotte. He won. So he is a very solid road course racer. However, is he worth the gamble of starting first and potentially losing 3 or 4 spots to try and get those dominator points, which, by the way, there's only 35 laps tonight. There's probably going to be about 30, maybe a little bit less of actual green flag laps. So we're looking at less than 15 fastest lap points and, 7.5 or 8 laps led points. Is that worth it? Or would you rather just go with someone, here like a Kyle Busch or Joey Logano who can finish up front and get those place differential points? It's not going to take much for Ryan Blaney to lose those dominator points if he falls back at all. The same with Alex Bowman. He starts second. There's obviously an opportunity here to play him, and maybe he does finish top 3 and lead some laps and get some fastest laps. But is it really worth it, as opposed to taking a risk with, say, William Byron, who's been super fast on road courses, or even Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin? Trying to limit, where a top 5 finish isn't going to be awful. When you're dealing with the limited amount of points we have this race, I'd be very hesitant to go super heavy at all on the front row. So getting into building a lineup, like I said, the 2 best drivers on road courses right now are Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. Let's go ahead and pull up my preview from earlier this week. Again, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. I'll link it in the description for this video. Let's just check out, the driver stats on road courses. First, last season, Chase Elliott, he won both races. We only had 2 races last year that we ran at this track, the Daytona Road course, the first ever Cup race at this track, and then also again at the Charlotte Roval. Chase Elliott won both. Martin Truex Jr. has second best average finish there with average of 5th. Joey Logano 5.5, William Byron 7.0. Same with Eric Jones, but he was in. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a little bit, and what to expect with him tonight in the Clash. Average driver rating, again, Chase Elliott, just a ridiculous average of 132.5. Martin Truex Jr., a little bit further behind, but he's up there as well, 116.5. William Byron and Joey Logano both averaging over 100 when it comes to driver rating. Now, we can go back and include 2019 as well. So we had the Charlotte Roval race and the Daytona Road Course race in 2020. Back in 2019, we also had races at Sonoma and Watkins Glen, as well as the Charlotte Roval. So when you go over the last 2 years, you now have 5 races of data to look at for most drivers. You know, guys like Tyler Reddick and Cole Custer, they only ran the 2 races last year because it was their rookie season. So looking now at these last 5 races, including 2019 and 2020, Martin Truex Jr. leads the 21 drivers that are racing tonight in average finish at 4.0. You see Chase Elliott there at 8.2, and it's a little misleading because he's won 4 of the 5. The one race that he didn't win was at Sonoma, and he had an engine problem. Of course, it was Truex that went on to win. I think Truex and Elliott have combined to win 7 of the last 8 road course races, with the only exception being that race that Blaney won at the Charlotte Roval, which, if you remember back, Truex should have won that race. That was when Jimmy Johnson dive bombed him in the final turn and took them both out. Then Blaney came through and won it. So, you know, when you have, let's look at average finish wise, Truex best Elliott there, but there has to be a little asterisk there. Average driver rating, Chase Elliott almost 130 over those 5 races. Truex 121. Nobody else has an average of triple digits. Once again, we see William Byron here popping up though. Definitely someone to keep an eye on tonight. Will he be able to finish? He's never had a top 5 finish at a road course, so, but still, someone definitely to keep an eye on. We know these Hendrick cars are fast on the road courses, and he's definitely got the talent as he's showing. We can also sit here and sort by average running position rank. So what this does is it takes the rank of each driver and their average running position for those 5 races, and then just averages the ranks. Truex, again, average of 3.8. Elliott, Byron, Harvick, and Blaney, your top 5. We also got Keselowski there, averaging an average running position rank of 9.6. So solid numbers there. Other stats I like to look at. So I like using this website, driveraverages.com. I know a lot of people use Racing Reference. As far as free websites, I am just used to Driver Averages. That's one that I've always used throughout my entire fantasy NASCAR career, basically. I do hate those ads that pop up, but you have to do what you got to do with a free site. But anyway, so one more thing before we get into building lineups for tonight is the limited amount of data we have on this type of racetrack. We do not race at road courses very often. It used to be 2 times a year. I think this year we're going up to 7. So that's quite a jump. And this race is going to could have multiple factors of, one, this is an exhibition race. It means nothing to these drivers except to win and get a check. Are they going to use this as a practice session? Because we're going to be racing here again, the second race of the season after the Daytona 500. Also, will they be using this just as an overall practice session for the upcoming road courses throughout the year? There's a lot of road courses this year. So that's something to keep in mind. Another reason to maybe, pivot to guys that maybe don't have the best stats on road courses, but are close, because who's to say someone isn't going to just go for broke on pure strategy and, end up, he'll be the reason someone wins the GPP tonight. Because I don't even know what I was going to say there. You get what I'm saying. But, okay, so let's start with a lineup here, going with the top 2 drivers on road course right now, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr. It's taken up a lot of cap to get those 2, but like I said, this is super soft pricing. Scrolling down here, I wrote up Cole Custer as a GPP play. I also like Chris Buescher. The reason I like Chris Buescher, that's the wrong track. Finished 5th here at the Daytona Road course last season. Now, That could be a fluke. His other stats on road courses aren't great. Um, he's typically a 20th place driver, but it's something uh, to kind of keep in the back of your head. So Charlotte Roval, 3 races for Buescher at the Charlotte Roval. Best finish of 17th, worst finish of 20th. Watkins Glen, uh, let's go down here to all of his races. He's never finished better than 11th at Watkins Glen, never finished better than 12th at Sonoma. With that being said, the Daytona Road Course is a bit different. So if he has something figured out at this track, like he did obviously last year when he had his 5th place finish, who's to say he can't get a similar result tonight, especially at that $5,900 price point? Uh, you can read my article on why I like Cole Custer. The main reason I like him in GPPs is because I think he's going to be extremely low owned, sitting there starting in 8th. But he had solid green flag speed in both road course races last year. Another guy to consider, who may get overlooked, we don't really know what his team's strategy is doing, is Ty Dillon. So he's going to run the 23 Toyota for Hamlin and Michael Jordan's new team tonight. Bubba Wallace is going to run that full time in the season. Ty Dillon is only running a few races, I think, for Gaunt Brothers. Ty's going to be racing tonight in the Clash because he won a stage at this track last year. That's how he got into this race, eligible, and then the 23 team is having him drive their car. Nobody really knows what to expect from the 23 tonight, but I'll tell you why I think Ty could be a sneaky play. Not only did we see him show pretty good speed in his below average number 13 car last year, but that 23 car is essentially a 5th Joe Gibbs racing car. Joe Gibbs Racing is very good on the road courses. Eric Jones posted top 5 finishes in the road courses last year, probably because he had Joe Gibbs Racing equipment. They are that good on this track type. Not as good as Chase Elliott, but when you have Hamlin, Truex, Kyle Busch on your team, you're going to be good. And their equipment advantage at this type of track makes it even better. So let's throw, Ty Dillon on here just to get a low dollar guy. And let's see what we can do here. One driver that I think is underpriced and should do solidly well here is Joey Logano starting 10th. So if we throw him on there, now we're stuck. We have an average of 7,950 left for our last 2 drivers. Do we want to come up here and grab someone like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, who are going to be super high owned because of the place differential potential? Both of them I could see both finishing inside the top 5. Or do we go up to someone like Hamlin? Maybe even Blaney? I don't know. Let's throw on here. Let's go with Kyle Busch. Now, when you look at, we'll go back here to my algorithm. And I kind of talked here about Kyle Busch. Fair warning, the algorithm absolutely hates Kyle Busch. That's because he has had the worst luck on road courses as of late. It has him projected finishing 12th. I look at that as a floor for him, though. It's hard to imagine Kyle Busch finishing worse than 12th tonight without wrecking, which is what he did here when we ran here last year. He also took the lead early, then flat spotted his tires, had to pit, spun out, missed the chicane, spun out again, wrecked his car, had a brake rotor problem. He had nothing but issues on this track, but he had a very good car. And again, this is Kyle Busch we're talking about. So if we throw Kyle on there, 8,900, leaves us 7,000 left. As I said before, I'm a proponent for not using the full cap. But if you don't want to come down here and grab like a Chris Buescher or Cole Custer, I don't hate Matt DiBenedetto. Obviously, the safe pick here, if you're going for a cash lineup, which I'm not great at, I don't build lineups with that mindset. But if you are, Almirola starts last, is guaranteed, I think, 20 points, if I remember right. He cannot go any spots backwards. But the thing is, he's not good on road courses. I'd rather take the chance with someone like a Matt DiBenedetto, who could surprise and finish top 8 and outscore Almirola, even if Almirola moves up a few spots. So like I said, I think the winning lineup in GPPs tonight is going to leave quite a bit of salary on the table. Maybe, over 1,000. I could be wrong. But here's one lineup, featuring Elliott and Truex. We got Logano, Kyle Busch, DiBenedetto, and Ty Dillon. $100 left. I don't hate it. And that's if you want both Elliott and Truex. I don't see why you wouldn't. They are by far and away the best drivers on the road courses right now. And Truex is the no-brainer here. Easy cash game play. Will probably be the highest owned on this slate. I'm pretty interested, though, to see where Chase Elliott's ownership percentage ends up, though. Because he is priced, like I said, this is soft pricing for this race. But at the same time, let me clear this out right here. At the same time, you have 3 drivers right here, Truex, Harvick, and Kyle Busch, which if I'm making a cash lineup, I'm starting with those 3 right there. And then I'm probably coming down and grabbing Almirola, just going for max place differential points. Maybe Austin Dillon sucks at road courses. Stenhouse isn't that good, but you might have to come down here and grab one of those guys. But will those drivers, starting 16th, 17th, and 18th, pull enough from Chase Elliott's ownership that he is going to go relatively under-owned at his best type of racetrack by a mile? Like, if Chase Elliott doesn't win this race tonight, it will likely be either due to a mechanical issue or if he wrecks or gets spun. He is that good on these road courses. So I think he should be, if I'm going on super aggressive strategy, I'm probably hitting Chase Elliott 80% tonight. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do as far as my strategy for this first race. I do know I'm not going to play like a large amount. And that's just because I'm not great earlier in the season, especially in a race like this where we honestly don't really know what to expect because of it's an exhibition race. It's not as crazy as when they were racing on the ovals, but still, all we got to go off of is very limited 2-race data last year on road courses and 3 races on them the year before. It's not exactly confidence inspiring. But let's go ahead and let's do a lineup without Truex on it. Maybe he wrecks in the first or at some point in the race. He's, like I said, he's probably going to be the highest owned driver on this slate. So let's go ahead and throw in Chase Elliott here. Harvick and Kyle Busch. Let's go back to my algorithm here. So we got Elliott, Truex, Hamlin, Byron, Logano. It's got Harvick ranked 10th, which seems a little low. Harvick's a good road course racer. And then, of course, Kyle Busch, which I told you, why you shouldn't really trust this thing on Kyle Busch. So let's just choose one of those. Maybe let's go with Kevin Harvick. William Byron, he has shown so much speed. I'm actually glad that he drew the 5th fifth starting spot because that should limit his ownership. I think there's an opportunity there to be overweight on a guy that is turning out to be a really solid road course racer. He just hasn't gotten the finishes yet. But the speed is there. And when the speed is there, the finishes will eventually come. So let's throw Byron on there. Kurt Busch is a very interesting option here. I think, did I write him up as a, let me check here. I did. I wrote him up as a cash play. I like him and Logano as cash plays because of their upside with place differential, and they are underpriced. So let's throw in Kurt Busch here on this lineup and see what else we can do here. So if we add in Cole Custer, it leaves us $9,400. What would it take to get Denny Hamlin on this lineup? Can't really. And do we even want to take the chance? My whole mindset here is at what point you have to differentiate yourself somewhere. So how much of this place differential chalk do you have in your lineup? But this particular lineup right here, we have Elliott starting 7th, Byron starting 5th, and Custer starting 8th, which is risky as hell. Custer especially. Byron is, I would consider mid-risk, and I do consider Elliott low risk, but he's still starting. He doesn't have as much place differential potential as some of the other guys. So let's throw on Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch here. Leaves us $500 left over. We got Chase Elliott, who is the favorite by quite a big margin to win this race. Got Kevin Harvick starting 17th, Kyle Busch starting 16th, Kurt Busch starting 15th, all of which could easily end up in the top 8. Byron, who's kind of a differentiator here for the lineup, expect him to go relatively low owned. I think people are going to be on his speed. They're going to realize that he has speed on this type of track, but will they take the risk with the 5th place starter? I'm not good at predicting ownership percentage, so I'm not about to, but I don't see Byron being hugely or majorly owned on this slate. And then we've got Cole Custer here, which is another taking the risk level of this lineup up a notch. But like I said, I think that's going to be the key to winning GPPs tonight. You can switch out. I wouldn't switch out Custer for Reddick. I really don't like Reddick starting up there at 6th. Like I said, you could maybe throw in Buescher here. Buescher instead of Custer. It softens the blow a little bit as far as risk and starting position. But that's how you win GPPs. It's not about going for the safe options. It's about taking the risk on guys that taking a risk on Austin Dillon when he won at Texas last year, you know. Let's do one more lineup here. We've had 2 with Elliott. Let's do one without. You have to. The last one was without Truex. You have to throw in Truex now. I think him and Elliott, you can easily. I wouldn't be opposed to going 75 to 80% exposure on both of these guys in my lineups tonight, if not more, depending on how it, differentiating your rosters so you don't have both of them on every single one, but they are just that good on this track type. So let's start here with Martin Truex Jr. And like I said, Joey Logano starting 10th. His road course numbers aren't like crazy good, but they're solid. Uh, as far as where is this? So let's take a look at green flag speed. So in my DraftKings article, I went ahead and listed you can see it right here. I listed the loop data box score for the last 5 road course races as well as green flag speed. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the 2 races last year. So the Charlotte Roval race, Joey Logano right here. He finished second. He had the second best green flag speed behind his teammate Ryan Blaney, and then William Byron was third. Again, William Byron popping up there. Chase Elliott fourth, Truex fifth, Christopher Bell sixth. I forget what happened, but one thing about green flag speed, especially on road course races, if a driver pits extra or has fresh tires over the competition, it can skew these numbers a bit, which I expect might be what happened here with Christopher Bell, but I could be wrong. But hey, look, he's right here at 9th, Cole Custer, and he finished 9th. Just saying. Going over to the Daytona Road course race, again, William Byron, second. Truex had the best green flag speed. Cole Custer there in 4th. Chase Elliott still won this race, even though he was 14th on this chart. Where is Logano? Am I blind? My eyes aren't that bad. Finished 9th, but had the 21st best green flag speed. This race especially, so if you remember back to the Daytona Road course last year, that's the one where rain was in the forecast. I think it was raining for the first third of the race or something. We all thought that it was just going to be a wreck fest, and there might have been like 2 wrecks. Nothing major. But I think that's a reason why you can see here that, especially this cluster right here, they did not finish top 10, but they're in the top 13 in green flag speed. It's just something to consider. None of these, especially on tracks like road courses and super speedways, green flag speed almost has to be taken with a grain of salt. It's great to look at, but you really have to analyze it to understand whether or not it's legit. This looks more indicative of what a typical green flag speed report should look like. Top 12, all but 1 finished in the top 11. So yeah, I think let's go ahead and throw Logano on here. I love that price for Logano. And come down here. How is Matt DiBenedetto? I know he's shown speed, but does he get the finishes? So Sonoma finished 4th there in 2019, but right here, he was in that 95 Toyota, which is going back to when I was talking about Ty Dillon essentially being another Joe Gibbs racing car. I think that's a big reason why DiBenedetto was able to pull off that top 5. Watkins Glen, 6th, again, at 95 Toyota. Oops. Let's go. He finished 15th at the Daytona Road course last year. He did finish 5th in the first stage. I do not remember the exact type of race he had, though. And then at the Charlotte Roval, his best finish again right there with that number 95 Toyota and that Joe Gibbs Racing power. But I think there's potential for DiBenedetto to be kind of a GPP pick tonight. There's Eric Jones right there. If you don't, like I said, Almirola is the chalk pick, and my contrarian brain always says go underweight on the chalk. Especially with someone like Almirola who can't even finish top 10 in a full field on road courses. Now we're down to essentially the 21, well, the 20 or 19 best drivers in the series. I'm not counting the Dillon brothers. So if he can't finish better than 14th in a full field at road course, who's to say he's going to, be much better than that in a race like this, unless, he plays some type of strategy. I don't love Almirola tonight, and I'm perfectly on board with going severely underweight on him, if not fading him entirely. I'll likely regret it, which I do oftentimes, but those are the type of plays that I think you have to make in this slate to win anything substantial. So let's go down here. Eric Jones, interesting. On what I'm interested to see what he's going to be able to do with this car. Like I said, let's go back. Let's look at Eric Jones here. These numbers have to be taken with a grain of salt. But he finished 10th in his first start at Watkins Glen, and then top 5 once he got into an actual Joe Gibbs racing car. Sonoma, 7th and 8th in the 2 years with Joe Gibbs. That's how good Joe Gibbs racing cars are at road courses. Daytona Road Course, he finished 11th last year. Started 20th, finished 11th. And the Charlotte Roval, looks like he has one bad race, at least 2 bad races here, bringing down his average, but he finished 3rd last year. Now, can he do that with the equipment that he has tonight? Bubba Wallace wasn't able to do much at all with this 43 Chevy. And I think that's going to hurt. So you look, he finished 25th here at the Daytona Road Course last year. Charlotte Roval, 3 starts, he finished between 21st and 36th. The last 2 Sonoma races, 26th and 29th. Watkins Glen, 25th and 28th. Now, is that due more to equipment, or is Bubba just not good at road courses? It's just something to keep an eye on tonight. I don't particularly love Jones there starting in 9th. So what if we throw on? I can't ignore Byron, especially. I think he's just going to be a solid GPP play. So if we throw in Byron on there, we got Truex, Logano, Byron. Do we take the chance with Ryan Blaney? Again, I don't love it. Especially if you're going to... I definitely wouldn't do, Ryan Blaney and William Byron in the same lineup. Keselowski's an interesting option. So let's go ahead. Let's throw on Kurt Busch here. Got 8,400 average left for the last 2 spots. If we throw on I'm debating Hamlin. But like I just said, I don't like going with 2 top 5 starters. But if Hamlin leads the race, leads a significant portion of the race, and then Byron finishes 3rd, that strategy can pay off. Or do you just go with the safer option here of Kyle Busch or Kevin Harvick? I like Kyle Busch more than I like Kevin Harvick tonight, especially if people are going to get scared of Kyle's recent road course record. So if we throw on Busch Brothers, Byron, Logano, Truex, I don't hate the lineup here leaving $1,000 on the table and going with the Benedetto. I think that's a pretty solid lineup for GPPs. Maybe even jumping down here to Busher. You're going to leave $2,000 on the table. That could also allow you to do something with Kurt, or come down here, grab Busher. Look at this. Got $2,000 left. Take off Byron, add Hamlin. I don't hate either of those lineups. So, just to recap here, Truex, Logano, Hamlin, Busch Brothers, and Chris Buescher. Or Truex, Logano, Byron, the Busch Brothers, and Matty D. Those are pretty solid lineups, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but I'd play those and be confident in them. Make sure you check out my full article here. I give my tournament picks, cash core picks, and then obviously I have my full projections here for tonight's race. Truex projected highest, Chase Elliott second highest, then Hamlin third, or Harvick third. I still like Kyle Busch though, even though my algorithm doesn't like him. My projections aren't super high on him. I think who else who else could you possibly want in a race where it's win or nothing except Kyle Busch? Kyle Busch is probably pissed off still because of how terrible of a season he had last year. I think it's a good time to roll the dice on Kyle. Let's go ahead. Let's go over here to FanDuel. First, we'll pull up my FanDuel projections here. Again, all this stuff will be linked in the description of this video. If you're watching it on my site, you're probably going to be on one of these articles already. Make sure you check everything else out. So, my FanDuel picks, again, we got Kyle Busch here. Byron, I like the prices of these two for the slate. And then, of course, Truex. Truex, Elliott, projected highest. Similar. So let's go over here. Let's throw a lineup or two together. Now the thing about FanDuel is this is going to be even more about finishing position than DraftKings is. DraftKings finishing position is going to be super important tonight. FanDuel finishing position is going to be beyond important. Like this is how you're going to win. You're probably going to need your all 5 of your drivers to finish top 8 if it's possible, or even better. You know, you only get 1/10 of a point for laps led. So someone like Ryan Blaney, especially at his $11,000 salary here for FanDuel, there's no reason to take him in my mind at all. It's not worth the risk. Like, chances are he's not going to lead all 35 laps and win. So why take the risk? Why waste that lineup? Now the question is, can you put together a solid lineup on FanDuel like you can on DraftKings with Chase Elliott and Martin Truex? FanDuel got a little more aggressive with their pricing, which I like. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. So we got Elliott, Truex. The lowest price drivers here is 7,000. You got Custer, Ty Dillon, Tyler Reddick, and Chris Buescher at 7,000. Next step up, we got Stenhouse, DiBenedetto, excuse me, Austin Dillon, Ryan Newman, Eric Almirola, Eric Jones at 7,500. Kurt Busch, again, underpriced. I don't understand that. Joey Logano, again, underpriced. Let's go ahead and throw Logano on this lineup, too. That leaves us an average of 8,000 per driver for the last 2 spots in this lineup. If you throw on William Byron, you can't. Oops. So best we could do is Bowman. But if we come down here and grab Kurt Busch, again, I think we're gonna end up having to leave salary on the table. And then you basically have your choice here. If I'm building this lineup here with Elliott, Truex, Logano, Kurt Busch, DiBenedetto, Buescher, maybe Custer, maybe Ty Dillon. I'd probably go with DiBenedetto or Buescher. I like Custer, but it's like I said, it's super risky. But yeah, so you throw in Matt DiBenedetto there. You got Elliott, Truex, Logano, Kurt Busch, and Matt DiBenedetto. And what if let's take Elliott out of the equation here. By the way, at his price point, I don't hate going super heavy on Logano in addition to Truex and Elliott here on FanDuel. Same with Kurt Busch. I like to be contrarian. Obviously, it's won me a lot of money throughout the years, but there's time and place to be contrarian. So if we throw on, going back to this lineup, let's throw on Kyle Busch. If we keep Logano on there over Kurt Busch, can we get up? You could throw on Byron here and grab Kurt Busch. It's going to leave 1,000 on the table. So you'd have Kyle Busch, Truex, Logano, Byron, Kurt Busch. Truex can win it from 18th. Logano could finish top 5. I think my algorithm has him projected finishing 5th. Has Byron projected finishing 4th. Truex obviously has that place differential. But what if we, instead of, if we came down here and took off Byron and Kurt Busch, we could afford Kevin Harvick and be able to roll with Buescher or Custer or Ty Dillon. I don't like Reddick. This is a solid place differential cash lineup. So let's go ahead. You throw in Buescher here. So you got Kyle Busch, Truex, Logano, Harvick, and Buescher. Let's do one more lineup here with not Truex, but Chase Elliott. I'll get away from automatically throwing Logano on there, but I do really like him in FanDuel tonight. You go. So if you check out my projections, I always include this column right here, dollar per fantasy point. And it's a good way to see with these projections. So all it does is it takes their FanDuel or DraftKings salary and divides it by the projected points and gets you dollar per point. It allows you to spot potential drivers that are underpriced or values. So right here, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano. Then DiBenedetto, obviously. And Eric Jones. I don't know if I can trust that equipment. But so let's try to make like a centralized lineup with Chase Elliott, and then, if we throw Kyle Busch on there and William Byron. You can go Logano and Kurt Busch. I don't think that's the first lineup we made, but I don't hate that lineup at all. Elliott, Kyle Busch, Byron, Logano, Kurt Busch. If you wanted to, there's so much. If you don't want to go Kyle Busch, because you can't really, even if you went down here and grabbed a $7,000 guy, you only have enough cap to come up here for Keselowski. So I think you have to, cut Kyle Busch. And do you spring for Harvick there at 11,000? You have 9,000 left in cap then. And you could do, if you want to play safe, play Almirola. I don't love that pick. But if you want to throw on DiBenedetto, you'd have enough money for Joey Logano or Kurt Busch. We throw on Logano. We got Elliott, Harvick, Byron, DiBenedetto, Logano, using the full cap. And then, of course, you can always come here, take Harvick off, roll with Kyle Busch. I still don't like Blaney. If you wanted to cut Logano and throw on Kurt Busch, you'd have an extra 500 here to pivot to Hamlin off of Harvick. A little bit riskier play, but could be worth it in a GPP. So yeah, that's it. I hope you found this helpful. This is the process that I use, the type of data that I use to make my lineups each week. I also use, like fantasy racing cheat sheet, but if you're looking just for free data, I love driveraverages.com, and then of course all the articles on my site are free, and yeah, I hope they help you. Good luck tonight. Hopefully we can win some money and we see a good race. It's going to be a week full of racing. We got the Busch Clash tonight. Got qualifying for the Daytona 500 just to set the front row on Wednesday, and then that qualifying will also set the dual starting lineups for Thursday. So we have two dual races to determine the full starting lineup for the Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday. And then we got the truck race and the Xfinity race. So tons of racing action. Daytona's always great, and I think we're going to see another great race this year. Hopefully with no scary ending. That was wild last year. But hell, maybe Ryan Newman will come back and win it. Yeah, make sure, go ahead, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, subscribe here on YouTube. I'd appreciate it so much. And again, if you ever have any questions or want to know anything, just reach out. I'm always available. I'm always here to help. See you guys.